There's a story of a Zen monk who was walking through a forest, and he came upon a tree, and he said to it, "Oh tree, tell me something about God." And the tree began to blossom. Welcome back to our Law of Attraction series, episode 6. In this episode, I want to talk about authenticity. What is authenticity? Why is it important? And we've touched a little bit in this series about the idea that passion is authenticity. They are two sides of the same coin. But in this episode, I'd like to talk about why authenticity is power. See, it works like this. Passion is authenticity. Authenticity is power. Power is divine. Therefore, authenticity is divine. Authenticity is the truest expression of what the universe has created in you and as you. And so it is absolutely vital for us to understand that if we expect to get anything from the universe that we are asking for, we have to become authentic. See, the universe only sees authenticity. It only sees your truest vibratory state. It doesn't care about the ideas you have about yourself, the ideas you tell about to other people, the opinions you have. It only sees your truest resonance at all given times, at every single moment, and it's always giving you based upon what you are vibrating with, what your frequency is emitting. So what is authenticity? Authenticity is simply to be who you truly are. But that works up the problem of how do we become who we truly are? Aren't we already who we are? So the first thing you have to understand is that in order to be authentic, you have to feel really good. You have to be in these high vibratory states, because when you're in low vibratory states, in negative vibratory states, then you are being inauthentic, and the universe doesn't see inauthenticity, it sees authenticity. And this is why 90% of people aren't able to attract good things to themselves, because they can't live from a state of high vibrations. They're going in and out all the time and mostly living in low negative vibrations, doubt, lack, victimization type of mentalities. And when you do this, you cut off your power, because you and only you are the creator of your reality. And when you don't realize that, you are the center of your own universe. You are unconsciously giving away your power to everything and everyone else, negative things that you don't actually want to give your power to. You want to reinforce and you want to give your power to things that are good, things that resonate with you. And you have the ability to do this, but only when you realize that you are the center of your own universe and the creator of your own reality and nobody else's. So try and imagine if trees had egos like we do. If trees were constantly trying to prove themselves, right? And you're trying to walk through the forest and enjoy a peaceful walk through nature. And it's like, hey, you know how old I am? I'm super old. You know, I'm not as tall as those trees over there, but you know, I'm smarter than them, so it's cool. You think I'm cool, right? We would never want to walk through the forest. We would avoid it like the DMV. But all of nature is in a state of authenticity. And this is what the truly remarkable thing about reality is that these trees, as magnificent as they are, they're not trying to explain themselves to me. They're not trying to prove why they're so great right now. They're just authentically being a tree, shining as what they already are. And so it's only humans that don't live from a state of authenticity, because we have these things called identities, which cause us to be confused, which cause us to run around looking for new things to attach ourselves to and find some self-worth in. And this causes us to be inauthentic. And most people are living from this state all of the time. Because the truth is that we all live in this natural intuition or in this natural experience that I am the center of the universe. We all feel that. And that's actually there for a reason, and it's actually true. But the truth is that you are the center of your own universe, and nobody else is. And everyone is the center of their own universe. It's only the ego that thinks that it's the exclusive center of the universe. And when people believe this, or they follow this mind-made idea, that's what causes them to live from pride and selfishness and greed and anger and jealousy. Because the ego, again, doesn't know what it is. But there is no great mystery to be solved. There is no great journey to go on to find yourself. You are already here. And any ideas, any opinions you contrive of what that should look like only contaminates what you authentically are. See, I like to explain it this way. There's three main planes of consciousness that we can live from. The ultimate truth is that there are infinite amounts. This is not really a conceptual truth, but an experiential one. But for the sake of simplicity, I like to teach it like this. You can live from ego, soul, or awareness. 3 levels. Ego is the person, the personality self, the psychological self. These are the roles that you play, the ideas you have about yourself, your human desires, aspirations, etc. The next level up is the soul level. Now, this is the part of you that goes on a journey, the part of you that reincarnates over many lifetimes, the part of you that feels I'm here for a purpose. I have lessons to learn. I am evolving and growing towards the source. And then the third plane is awareness. And this is the divine state. I like to also call it the I am state. This is when the identity, the sense of self, is not attaching to any object outside of itself whatsoever. It is simply resting and marinating in its own I amness. And everyone has this natural feeling that I know I exist. My existence, my consciousness is the most sacred thing to me. And when you arrest your identity only in this is called the I am state. And in Hinduism, it's often called nirvana. Modern day times we call it enlightenment, Christ consciousness, but Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven. And his first sort of stipulation to entering the kingdom of heaven is that you must first deny yourself or die to yourself. And he's obviously not advocating suicide. He's saying you should die to your human self. You need to die to your psychological self, your ideas you have. And then, and only then, when you stop identifying with this plane of consciousness, you can rise to the second or the third plane. And this is actually simple to do, but it just takes practice, because the sense of I am, it naturally wants to go towards the mind always, because we've been doing this. We've been sort of charging this energetically our whole life. Attachment, identity with the body, with the mind. I am the body, I am the mind. And so therefore you limit yourself to the body and mind, because you always take on the limitations and the boundaries of whatever you are identifying with. But when you know yourself to be the I am, or even soul, you have access to the planes below it. You can still be a person, function as a person, but you're not limited to the weak, unstable personality that the person is. And so the rebuttal you hear a lot from people when in spirituality we say that you need to, die to yourself or transcend your ego, is often that, oh, I don't want to deny myself as if my person was something bad. I like my person. I think my person can be good, and I want to celebrate it. I don't want to cut its head off, right? And so this is basically just the thief saying to the person that they are robbing, hey, look, don't turn me into the police, because if you do, then you're going to be thrown in jail too, right? Because how are they going to know which one of us is the thief? You're going to be guilty by association. So why don't we just not go this route? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So this is sort of the last ace up the sleeve of the ego before, it's seeing the guillotine coming down on it, right? So we need to absolutely destroy this lie that so commonly prevents people from going beyond the ego plane of consciousness. So a lot of times people say, I like my person. There's things about myself that I like. I don't want to die to myself, become enlightened, and just not be a person anymore. But of course, that's not true. Everything that you like about yourself is not a result of your ego, is not a creation of the ego. Everything that you dislike about yourself is a product of the ego. Because the mind is the part of your brain that is looking for forms to attach to, because it doesn't have an identity, because it doesn't actually exist. It's just a collection of constantly changing thoughts and opinions. So when you rest your identity there, in that unstable place, then you don't have power anymore. You become weak, because how can something without an identity have any power? But the truth is that you have an identity. It just is not something that can be named, can be seen, can be observed. It is beyond everything. And this is the I am state, the Christ consciousness. And everything you like about yourself, your compassion, your kindness, your goodness, your happiness, your joy, your peace, your empathy, anything that you like about yourself comes from this state, is coming from the I am. It is coming from love energy. And everything you don't like about yourself, fear, doubt, guilt, anger, jealousy, this comes from the unstable side of you, which is the mind, which doesn't know where its identity is. So it's constantly trying to add forms to itself, add objects to itself. So if you take on that identity, how powerful do you think you can be? Not very powerful. If you identify as nothing, as nobody, then what do you think your limitations are? There aren't any, because you're not establishing an identity for yourself. Therefore, everything is possible. And this is the state of power. This is the state of authenticity. And so when we achieve the state of authenticity, of that I am state, just living with that visceral sense, I absolutely know that I exist, my existence is real, and that is what the divine element inside of me is. That is the God dimension inside of me. When you just live with this natural intuition, the universe has your attention. And it is looking at you because you've become authentic, and it only is seeing authenticity. The law of attraction doesn't notice the stories you tell people about yourself. It doesn't notice the stories you tell yourself about yourself, because the ego lies to us, to our mind, as much as it lies to everyone else about itself. We never have a full grasp on who we are, and everyone else's opinions and experience of who we are is completely different. So which one is the real you? It's like being in a room with fragmented mirrors all around you. I don't know which one's me. All the while you are already you. And so when this is recognized, the law of attraction sees the light shining from you. It's like the bat signal to the law of attraction. And whatever you ask for, you shall receive. This is the kingdom of heaven, and this is the state that Christ lived from and Christ achieved, which is why it's called the Christ consciousness. So this is why when Jesus in Matthew 7 says, "Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For anyone who asks, receives. Anyone who seeks will find. And to anyone who knocks, the door will be opened." Jesus was the original law of attraction teacher. He talked about these concepts all over the place in his teachings. And of course, he's not talking about a verbal asking, because again, universe doesn't recognize that, doesn't speak that language. He's talking about asking from your state of being, asking from your vibratory state, becoming a vibrational match to whatever it is you're asking for. And when you ask the universe according to the language it speaks, which is energy, frequency, vibration, it listens to you and it always gives you what you ask. But we're asking the universe out of an imaginary state of the person, of the ego, which again doesn't exist. And so we're here talking, begging the universe for stuff, and it's inauthentic because we might be asking for something good. I want a promotion, please give me a promotion. But we're asking from a negative vibration, from a doubt, a lack of victimization mentality, from ego. And so it's going to give us what we're actually authentically vibrating, which is ego, negativity. So when Jesus says, "Ask and it will be given to you," he's talking about recognizing or realizing a state within yourself which is already authentic, which is already here, which is timeless, which is eternal, which has no beginning or has no end. It is before all forms and objects, therefore it has no form or object identity. It is shining by itself. This is love energy. This is the one infinite, all that exists. And that is what you truly are at the deepest level, at the highest level. And so when you realize this level of yourself, that's as authentic as you can possibly be. So I want to leave you with one tip for this video that's going to help you to start realizing and accessing your most authentic self, and that is this. Everybody is born with a unique set of talents or gifts or abilities, something that is unique to you that you're naturally good at or gravitate towards or just better at than the average person. And these talents and gifts are actually your unique divine powers, abilities that you've been given by the universe. This is the way that source energy wants to express itself in your form. But the problem is that we so downplay our natural talents and gifts as not being special or significant, because everybody has gifts, right? Why does that make me special? If I was truly divine, truly special, I would have all the gifts all at once, right? And this is what seems to be true from the mind's perspective. But it doesn't matter what's true from the mind's finite perspective. All that ultimately matters is what's true from the highest perspective, from source. And from the perspective of infinity, it does have all the gifts and talents all at once. It is experiencing every person simultaneously. So it'd be kind of like you saying to your left hand, hey, if you're really a hand, why can't you also be the right hand? From your perspective, that's a nonsensical statement because you are the source of both hands simultaneously. You're not just experiencing one hand at a time. So this is what's true of reality. So whatever your unique gifts and talents are, start exploring them, start expanding them, because whatever they are, they're also going to be what you're naturally most passionate about. And again, this is set up this way for a reason, because the universe wants to experience itself as you and these gifts and talents in the world. And so when you do this, you start to become happier, you start to become a higher vibrational being. And when you become higher vibrational being, you become authentic. That's the first step to being authentic. You have to feel really good. And it feels good to follow your natural gifts. And this is what every successful person already knows. Every person who has fame, notoriety, wealth, success of any kind, they became that way because they started to expand on their natural abilities, their natural talents. And they did it enough so that they became the shining star that they are, that we all aspire to be like. But we all have the ability to be like this if we can follow our natural gifts and talents. But most people so easily dismiss the law of attraction as being too good to be true because I can't just have anything I desire. That's impossible. If the law of attraction is true, then I want a Lamborghini, I want $1 billion, I want a mansion, etc. I want those things. Why don't I have them right now? See, law of attraction is not real. But you don't actually want those things. The ego wants those things. The mind is always trying to add more forms and objects to itself, collect more things to bolster its sense of identity with. And this is, again, not something the universe pays attention to. And so if you really want $1 billion, if you really want a mansion or a Ferrari, then you're going to be charging it and vibrating with it. You're going to become a vibrational match to it. You're going to be passionate about it, focusing on it, dreaming about it. You're going to be willing to give up things for it. You're going to be willing to wait for it. When you truly desire something and it's a part of your frequency, the universe bends over backwards to give you whatever it is that you desire. But you have to know that this is the way that it works. When we live from the perspective of just the person, the ego, then we only use our gifts and talents to gain self-validation, to gain approval from others, to impress people. And this is because the ego sees its talents as, of course, its identity. It says, I am these gifts, not I have these gifts. And so it is both at the same time prideful and arrogant about its talents and constantly feeling threatened by other people's talents. We all know people like this. So this is a very unstable place to live from. And that's why it's dangerous to think that you're anybody. You cannot expand on your natural gifts if you're only doing it to gain validation for yourself. You have to just allow the divine creative energy to flow through you. Just explore it, enjoy it, expand it, and give it away freely to the world. None of it belongs to you anyways. And when you do this, you're becoming authentic. But the mind says that everyone else is the problem. If people will just start treating me better and start respecting me more and shape up, then maybe I could finally be my authentic self and realize my true potential. So with this thought, the mind puts you on a hamster wheel that you will never get off of until you just decide to stop believing that lie. You are the center of your own universe. Nobody else can come into your center and fix things for you. You've got to do it. And the first step is to go beyond the psychological self and to realize that you are not just flesh and blood. You are divine intelligence disguising itself as a person. And when this shift in awareness is achieved, then you become pure. And when you're pure, the universe sees that. The universe is magnetized towards that. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. The universe only sees purity. It only sees authenticity. And when you become pure, the universe loves to give you whatever you're asking for. When you become authentic, truly authentic, then all things are yours.